Hi folks, Lee here and a warm welcome back to the channel for another Small Talking Zombies Left 4 Dead video. And today I wanted to talk about something that has always been really close to my heart, and that is basically anything to do with space exploration, space science, space travel, whatever you want to call it. And in particular I want to talk about the effect of private industry getting involved, particularly SpaceX, because I feel like they are. I was going to say debatably, but I don't even think it's debatable. I think they're the main players in private space travel. And obviously, recently we had the Crew 1 launch, which thankfully is looking like a complete success so far, sending 4 astronauts to the International Space Station. And of course, earlier on in the year we had the DM2 mission with Bob and Doug, and that was also a complete success. And you know, it was just one of those things that, like, I know it's not something that everyone cares about, it's not everyone's cup of tea, but you know, like, I just think it's so cool. And I thought it was like a rare moment of, you know, positivity in 2020 to see these missions, you know, go successfully and, you know, these things happen. Um, but I wanted to talk about more broadly, you know, my love of SpaceX and space in general. Um, Now, the first reason I love SpaceX is just because, you know, they're awesome, right? Um, I can't help but, you know, love every time I see one of those boosters come back onto the drone ship, or, you know, whenever they catch like a fairing, or just every time they launch, it's just spectacular, you know. I thought one of the coolest things I ever saw live was seeing that Falcon Heavy launch for the first time, and then seeing those two boosters come back pretty much simultaneously, you know. I just thought that was an amazing moment. But the second reason is actually a bit more, it's actually been highlighted a bit more recently, and it's because traditional space exploration done by governments, particularly the US government, obviously because, you know, a big part of space exploration in general has been the Americans and the Russians, but right now it's really more the Americans now. Um, and the thing about NASA is it's very subject to politics. It's very subject to the politics at the time, right? And the problem with that is you're looking at, you know, the plans changing possibly every 4 years, because every 4 years a new president gets elected. Now, personally, in my opinion, I'm very unconcerned about, you know, what a particular president thinks of space exploration. Like, that shouldn't be a priority for the country. Like, I get that, right? You know, the priority needs to be looking after people, making sure things are running well, um, you know, and just obviously, particularly in a time like this, you want someone that's, you know, making sure that the country's running well, you know, like, um, so I don't think space exploration should be a big deal in that regard, right? But what I love about having a company like SpaceX around, particularly in the way that they're operating just now, is that it means that even if, you know, a president comes along who's maybe not as interested in space exploration and doesn't want to give NASA the funding, it means that it'll still go on, because if you've got a company like SpaceX who's now, you know, providing commercial trips to the space station, right? So the way it used to work is NASA would contract the companies, and then they'd be very involved in the design of the vehicle and the use of the vehicle, and it would be NASA that would operate it. Whereas nowadays, with the Commercial Crew program, you've got SpaceX and Boeing, who are making their own vehicles, and it means that once the vehicle's made, NASA isn't, you know, as hands-on with it. Basically, now that the vehicles are made, NASA's just going to be one customer of many customers, buying trips to the space station and into space and, you know, wherever it might go next. So even if the political winds change and it turns out that, you know, a president comes in that decides space exploration isn't as much of a priority as some other things, which I would agree with, it means that it's still going to happen, because there's still going to be private individuals that want to go to space and private companies that want to send experiments to space, and it means that space in general is still going to be a thing, right? So, and the other thing is, you know, when you've got long-term plans, like if you're thinking about, you know, doing crewed missions to the moon or Mars, you know, these plans take time, and they typically take a lot more time than, you know, a 4 or even 8 year presidential cycle. So, you know, that's why none of those plans beyond Apollo have ever really left the drawing board. Whereas if you've got private companies like SpaceX that are really passionate about doing that thing, then it's still going to end up happening regardless, which is, I think, is pretty cool. So that's kind of like a brief summary why I love SpaceX and I love like private space companies in general. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you liked it, leave a like. If you hated it, leave a dislike. What's your thought on private space companies? Let me know in the comments below. And if you would like to see more of this content in the future, then please do subscribe. And I'm just going to get us out of this kind of slightly terrible situation. I think that's us done. So yeah, as I said, if you'd like to see more of this content in the future, then please do subscribe. Bye folks.